Congresswoman Debbie Lesko to talk the numbers, the mind-numbing numbers. And Representative Lesko, I think you would agree with me that the Senate's border bill was completely unacceptable, but is anything acceptable on the horizon?
Well, thank you so much for having me on, James D. I really appreciate it. You know, you're right. The number of crossings is just total insanity. The Biden and Democrats' open border policies are awful. And what I've been told is, now, in addition to the 7.3 million border crossings since Biden's been in office, there is another over 1 million of gotaways that are recorded on either videos or sensors, but they just didn't catch them, so they can't call them apprehensions. So this is insanity, and Republicans in the House are trying to do everything and anything to try to stop it. In May of last year, we already passed a bill out of the House, H.R. 2, that would reinstate Trump's tough on border policies like remain in Mexico, increasing the standard for asylum claims, and the Senate won't even hear the bill.
So is this HCR 2050 you're talking about?
No, HCR 2050, are you talking about the Arizona bill?
Well, actually,
is that what you're talking about?
I know that you and Representatives Andy Biggs, Eli Crane, Paul Gosar just called on members, yes, of the Arizona legislature to refer HCR 2050 to the ballot immediately. Let's talk about that. What is HCR 2050 and why is it so important?
Well, my understanding is HCR 2050 has to do with allowing all vehicles, all devices, everything to be able to use gas-powered, not to ban gas-powered things. But there is another ballot measure that Ben Toma has sponsored that would really be tough on illegal immigration, requiring E-Verify and doing other things on illegal immigration. So I'm trying to work with the state to try to help secure the border as well. And my understanding is that Warren Peterson, the Senate president, and Ben Toma have also joined in the legal fight to defend Texas's right to defend itself, because there they have a Republican governor that's actually trying to defend their own state, unlike in Arizona where we have a Democrat governor, Katie Hobbs, that won't defend this open border policies. In fact, they support open border policies. So I'm not sure which ballot measure you're talking about. I think the HCR 2051 is the one on you can't ban gas stoves, you can't ban gas-powered cars and that type of thing. But there is another ballot measure out there that would be tough on illegal immigration, and I hope that Arizonans will support that.
Well, absolutely. We're talking about the one, I think we had Arizona Speaker of the House, Ben Toma, on yesterday, and we were talking about that bill, which will go right to the people. So it is a ballot measure, and I think that if enough of Arizonans understand what is going on and what is being done to us, and they pass that ballot measure, and that's one of the toughest things, I think the strongest thing we could do right now to stop the flood of illegals into the great state of Arizona.
Well, yeah, and I totally agree with you, and I totally agree with Speaker of the House Ben Toma's efforts on this, because it's going to be, quite frankly, up to the states until we elect a Republican president that's going to change the law. And I think that Republican president is going to be Donald Trump. I mean, the primary is not here yet, but I think it's going to be President Trump. And he effectively secured the border when he was the president. So it's proven that President Biden can do this. If you just look at the numbers, in December of 2020, when Trump was still president, there were 74,000 apprehensions or crossings at the border. You fast forward 3 years later, under President Biden, December of 2023, there were 302,000 crossings at the border. And there's terrorists coming. They've just caught a terrorist that has been wandering around the United States for a year that they let go accidentally at the border. There's just over the weekend, there were hundreds of Chinese nationals caught in the San Diego border sector itself. I think it was like 452 Chinese nationals just over this last weekend. I mean, this is insanity. And the only reason I can think Democrats want these open border policies is because they want to claim more congressional districts. Because think about it. Congressional districts are redrawn based on the number of residents, not citizens, number of residents counted by the census. So if you get all these illegal immigrants in and you get them all to these Democrat cities, they gain more congressional seats. That's the only logical reason I could think why these Democrats want open borders.
Well, Representative Lesko, I think the part of the problem here is you're trying to be reasonable and logical in describing the Democrats' efforts, and that often can get you in trouble because these people are irrational. But Representative, I can't ignore the elephant in the room. You are running for a Maricopa County Board of Supervisors seat. Why are you doing that? I thought you were done with politics.
I wasn't done with politics. I was done with running for Congress. And so the main reason that I decided not to run for Congress again is because I wanted to spend time with my family here in Arizona. I have a 94-year-old mother. I have 3 kids, a loving husband, 5 grandkids. And I'm usually gone in Washington, D.C. like 3 weeks out of the month, and so I come home back and forth on the weekends. I try to fit seeing everybody in. And by the time that I'm done serving through the end of this year in Washington, D.C., I'll have spent 6 years and 8 months doing that. And I just I wanted to spend more time with the family. And so last Thursday, when Clint Hickman announced that he wasn't running again, people texted me and they said, Debbie, why don't you run for this? And I thought about it and I was like, I served in the state legislature for the Sun Cities areas, Peoria, Glendale areas for 9 years. And then I served in Congress at the federal level for those same people in a bigger area. And why not serve at the county level and try to help the same constituents I've served either in the state legislature or through Congress? And it seemed like the logical fit where I could stay involved, keep up the fight, and still be at home to go to sleep at night with my husband here in Arizona and see my kids. It seemed like a logical thing, and I love the people in my district and in the West Valley, and it seemed just like a great thing to do.
Well, I tell you, we can do all that and then get on the Board of Supervisors and then help us to solidify our nice, clean elections where we all have trust in it. It's a win-win for everyone. Congresswoman Debbie Lesko, I thank you very much this morning.